This is Kratom, and depending on who you ask, it's a potentially lethal drug or a harmless supplement with a bunch of different benefits. I had never heard of it until I saw this TikTok from a popular influencer.
So I've just been going to coffee shops, chugging my gas station crack, and doing my taxes.
So we decided to dig in. Stay Tuned spent weeks talking to pharmacologists, recreational users, the mother of a Kratom user who died, and the American Kratom Association to answer 5 questions. What is Kratom? What is it used for? Is it dangerous? How available is it? And ultimately, should it be legal?
And I had so much fun doing my taxes, which made no sense. I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm like suggesting them to everyone and calling my friends, and I'm like, you gotta get it.
We wanted to chat with Emmy first because her video about using Kratom went viral.
This is very LA of me, but I love like any drink that's like, be happy, feel good, because usually it's vitamins, but this was in a coffee shop, so I bought it, and then I drank it to do my taxes. I felt relaxed, I felt a little happy, so I kept drinking them.
Somebody said, Emmy, that is a synthetic opioid.
Emmy's experience mirrors a lot of what we saw in our reporting. Many people don't really know what Kratom is before trying it out.
Ron White brought a bunch into the club. Those things. I don't know what's going on with those things. Whew, those put you in a nice place.
So what exactly is it? Kratom is a plant that's native to Southeast Asia. Most of it comes from Indonesia, Malaysia, or Thailand. It's most often ground into a powder and consumed either brewed as a tea or in a capsule. While it's not an opioid, the active ingredient metrogenine can stimulate the same brain receptors as opioids, which means Kratom can become addictive to some users.
That falls between all of these different regulations. It's not a dietary supplement. It's not a prescription drug, but it's not a banned substance.
Michael White is the director of pharmacy practice at the UConn School of Pharmacy. Some estimates suggest Kratom is about a $1.5 billion a year industry. And according to a recent study, an estimated 1.7 million Americans 12 or older used Kratom in 2021. White says there are 4 primary groups of Kratom users. 1. People with opioid use disorder who are using Kratom to either tie them over until they can get more opiates or attempting to wean off harder stuff. 2. People who are using Kratom as a chronic pain management tool. 3. People who are using it to manage anxiety, depression, or some other mood disorder. And 4. People who like the stimulant effects, which could include the sober curious or a caffeine replacement.
We don't know how many products are being sold in the country. We don't know who is selling the products, in what concentrations. We don't know where they're making the products.
White said one of the biggest issues is that there's almost no quality control for these products.
No one wants to buy a product and have the product be laden with lead and arsenic and tin. But I can tell you that there are a number of Kratom products that are being sold right now that exceed the FDA regulations for drug products and dietary supplements for all of those heavy metals.
One of the other main dangers he pointed out was that it's really hard to know what exactly is in any product labeled Kratom. It might be Kratom, but it also might be something synthetic and possibly dangerous. For a lot of products, there's no dosing information on the packaging, so you don't know how much to take. And finally, according to White, Kratom can change the way your body breaks down other drugs in ways that could be dangerous to your health if you're using multiple substances at once.
I think we've shown with medical marijuana laws, and I think we've shown with recreational cannabis product laws inside various states that we can do a lot better.
Everyone we've talked to about Kratom told us how easy it is to buy online and in person. So we're in downtown Manhattan to do just that, buy some Kratom. Do you sell Kratom? Just over here? Do you have Kratom? Oh, I already see it in the window. Can I get the blue one with the pill?
Sure.
Do people buy this a lot?
Yeah, we've got demands. We're currently out of stock right now.
Wow.
So this, I think for the blue one, it's the last one that we got right now.
Oh, you have a bunch. Okay. Everything we've heard about how easy it is to find and buy Kratom is true. We went to half a dozen smoke shops and convenience stores within a 3-block radius, and all of them had Kratom in different forms: tablet, powder, leaf, and liquid.
This is Brendan with Ozzy when Ozzy was a baby. Brendan was my youngest son, and he was 48 when he died. He died of an overdose of Kratom.
Do you remember the first time you heard about Kratom? What went through your mind?
It didn't strike me as terribly serious. It's, you can buy it at the vape shop.
And the fact that it's unregulated by the FDA and there's a bunch of warnings,
Yeah.
When you learned all of that, what went through your mind?
When Brendan died, when we went into the house, we found the box of Kratom, or it was empty. And on that box, it said something along the lines of, we cannot be held responsible for any adverse side effects of taking Kratom. And there was no dosage advice, there was nothing except, hey, not our problem. If you die, it's on you, man.
Ozzy, look at the squirrel. It's up there.
The toxicology report showed there was nothing else in his system except Kratom and a small amount of anti-seizure medication that he got at the hospital.
Tell me a bit more about Brendan. What was he like?
Brendan was a character. He was very creative. He built this fence, and it's a beautiful fence.
You want the red one?
I'll take the red one.
He had a daughter. Her name is Devin. And Devin is now 17. She was 15 when he died. One of the things he always gave me was beautiful earrings. He would buy earrings for me.
I've asked about the impact that Brendan's death has had on the family, but what about you? How has his death impacted you?
I'm still mad at Brendan. I'm mad at him for dying. I'm mad at him for taking Kratom. He was a grown-up. He should have known better. I don't know why he was taking it. I don't know when anger goes away. It's easier to be mad than to be sad.
So, should Kratom be legal? Should it be regulated?
Hey, consumers should be aware. So first step is look at the labeling. If there's nothing there, don't use it. If it makes a therapeutic claim, don't use it, because we want to make sure people are protected. The manufacturing of Kratom products in the United States is pretty much the Wild West because the FDA refuses to responsibly regulate these products.
We reached out to the FDA for comment, but the agency didn't respond by the time we recorded this. On its website, the FDA says Kratom is not appropriate for use as a dietary supplement and warns consumers not to use it. Meanwhile, the DEA has listed Kratom as a drug of concern and has yet to exercise its authority to label or restrict it.
As we approach this at the American Kratom Association, we want good manufacturing standards in place.
While Haddow did say the AKA supports minimum age requirements for buying Kratom, he pushed back on the idea that it shouldn't be available at gas stations, grocery stores, or coffee shops.
I could give you a dozen products you can buy at a gas station today that have more harmful effects than Kratom would ever have. There are some bad actors in the system who are deliberately adding things to Kratom that are not natural and that they make the products dangerous because they boost the effects of Kratom. But it's not going to be ultimately dangerous unless it is an adulterated product or being so horrendously abused by someone that they harm themselves, which would be the rare occasion.
One of the issues is that it falls between all of these different regulations, and there's no one that's really in charge of protecting you. And in that ambiguity, there's a lot of wiggle room for people to do what they can to try to make a buck in the marketplace while they still can.
Because there's a big sign out front that says Kratom sold here, that would suggest, oh, there's no danger here. It's like ice cream sold here, soda is sold here. Just because it's sold at the convenience store doesn't mean it's not dangerous.